So if I wanted to modify or if I wanted to change any of the content of a table, at that time we are going to use this alter. Along with a delete command, we are going to use this where clause in order to put condition along with a delete command. Here no clause required along with a drop command. If I wanted to fetch all the records or all the rows of a table, select star from table name, DML, that is data manipulation language. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. Welcome back to the revision class and chapter 14, that is SQL Commands. I am Rohini TS, lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. We'll see the marks distribution of this chapter when it comes to the chapter 14, that is SQL Commands. No need to worry about the 1 mark question as well as 2 marks question. Then you are going to get one 3 marks question that will be for 3 marks, and you are going to get 2 questions in part D, that is in the 5 marks question, so that it will be for 10 marks totally. So that totally you are going to get 3 questions from this chapter, and it will going to cover 13 marks from the SQL Commands chapter. This is the marks distribution of this chapter 14. So we'll see the important question in the perspective of 3 marks as well as from the part D, that is 5 marks question. We'll see the first question here. Explain any 3 data types used in SQL. So what are the important or different kinds of data type we are going to use in SQL? So that means we have to specify the type of data that I wanted to hold. For example, if you are giving any of the commands, if you are writing or some queries, at that time I need to specify the type of data I want to give as a resultant. So that I need to specify the type of a data that comes under data type. Then what are the types of data types we have in a SQL? So it includes number, char, varchar, varchar2, and we have date or time, and also we have long, raw and long raw. So these are the following data types that we can see in the SQL. So out of this you can explain any 3. So when you are explaining, you just mention the type of data type and write what is its usage. That means what kind of data it will going to store and what is its general syntax. Along with that you write one example. With all those 3 points, then surely you are going to get 3 marks. So let me show you here. So here I have taken an example of char. So why we are going to use a char? It is mainly used to store character type data in a column. So if I wanted to store character type of data in my column, then I have to use this char data type. And what is its general syntax? That is char of size. I need to mention its size, like how many number of character that I wanted to take. So that you have to mention. Along with that, I have taken one example. So I am taking a variable called name of a data type char, which will going to hold up to 15 characters. So in the same way, I have taken this varchar2, and mainly it is used to store variable length of alphanumeric characters, and also I have listed out its general syntax along with a example. In the same way, go with for this number, write its general syntax and write one example and mention for in order to store which kind of data in a column we are going to use this type of data type in a SQL. This is what you have to write for the answer. We'll see the next question, that is explain alter command in SQL with syntax and example. Anyway, it is for 3 marks, right? So you have to analyze the marks distribution. So if I wanted to explain this alter commands with its syntax and example, remember, so what this alter command is all about, why we are going to use that, that will be for 1 mark. And if I have written its syntax, that will be for another 1 mark. And if I have mentioned one example which is related to this alter command, then that will be for another 1 mark. So if you have missed any of the point here, you are going to miss that kind of marks. So understand here, what is this alter statement will going to do? So if I wanted to modify or if I wanted to change any of the content of a table, at that time we are going to use this alter. So understand one thing, so the table can be modified or changed. I can change the scheme of a table with this alter command. Then what will be the syntax? Alter table, table name. So I am altering the table. I have to mention the name of a table and which column I wanted to change and what kind of data type I wanted to give. So that I need to specify along with its new size and new column name along with a data type. In the same way, I can have an example here, alter table employee, and I'm going to use a keyword called modify. I wanted to modify the salary column. It was something else initially. Now I wanted to change that, the number, data type, and I'm changing it to 15,2. That is what we have to write. So understand, write the definition for what purpose we are using and write its general syntax. Based on this syntax, write one example. So at last, don't forget to give the semicolon. So this kind of questions you can expect. We'll see the next question. Write any 3 functions of DML, that is data manipulation language. So this DML provides the data manipulation techniques like selection, insertion, deletion, updation and modification, even replacement, retrieval, sorting and display of the data or records. Data manipulation language will going to help us in order to perform all these kind of operations, like that includes insertion, deletion, updation. I can do the modification, I can replace it, I can retrieve it, I can display it. What we can do all those things. So we can do it everything with this data and records. Next, what is this? DML facilitates the use of relationship between the records. I can build a relationship between one tuple to another tuple. That is what single entry of a table will be considered as row, tuple or even records. Then DML provides for an independence of programming language by supporting several high-level programming languages that includes COBOL, PL-1 and C++. So this will going to support these many programming languages by providing an independence of programming. It does not depend on any of the programming language. So these are the 3 functions which we can see with respect to this DML or a data manipulation language. We'll see the next question. Explain drop command with syntax and example. Now you can analyze this. So if you have mentioned what is the drop command is all about, 1 mark, syntax is 1 marks and its example is for another 1 mark. So why we are going to use this drop table or a drop command or a drop statement? It is used to remove a table, definition and all the data, indexes, triggers, constraint and the permission specification for that table. So there is a difference between delete and drop. So delete in the sense I will just remove the content of a table. Drop in the sense what? I'm just going to demolish that, or I'm just going to remove the content of all the file, all the indexes, views which is related to that file from the database itself. That is the difference between delete and drop. So that what is the basic syntax for this drop command? We have to specify a keyword called drop and I need to specify the table and its table name. That means I have to specify which table I wanted to delete. Example, drop table student. So that this student table will not at all going to be existed in a database management system. So that table got dropped. This is how we have to answer. We'll see the next question. Differentiate between delete and drop commands. Already I told you regarding this delete and drop. We'll see the differences here. It is related to delete and it is related to drop. So when it comes to the delete, it removes some or all the tuples from a table. So as we all know that we have a table that consists of rows as well as the column, and all these will be considered as what? Tuple. So it will remove the content of this tuple. It removes all these content. So if I'm using this, delete. Okay. But what about this drop? It will going to remove its complete schema, table domain or even some of the constraint which I have mentioned. Everything will going to be removed from this database. Next, data manipulation language. Delete belongs to DML or a data manipulation language command, and this drop is related to DDL command and this is related to DML command. What is the next difference we have? Where class mainly used along with a delete command. We are going to use this where class in order to put condition along with a delete command. Here, no clause required along with a drop command. Dropping that table, no need to have any of the constraint. Why we are going to use where here? For example, if I wanted to delete this particular record or a row, at that time what I can give? So, delete this row, delete name from table student where student ID is equal to 2. So in order to give a condition, I can use this delete command with a where clause. So but that kind of clause is not required in the drop. So these are the simple examples between this delete and drop in the SQL commands. We'll see the next question. Write the difference between order by and group by SQL commands. So here we have a group by, here we have a ordered by. So group by statement is used to group the rows that have the same value. Then what about this order by? So whereas order by statement sort the result set either in ascending or descending order. It will just going to sort order. Like it can be either ascending order or descending order. But when it comes to the grouping, it will going to group several statements or it will going to group some of the rows. It may be allowed in create view statement, but while it does not use in create view statement. We are not going to use order by clause in the create view statement, but group by clause can be used in the create view statement. So in the select statement, it always used before the order by keyword. So we have to use group by first, next we have to use this order by. So that while in select statement, it is always used after the group by keyword. So group by first will going to come and next we are going to use this order by class. So these are the difference between group by and order by. We'll see the next question, that is with respect to this 5 marks question. Understand and analyze the question, write as per the marks distribution. Okay, we'll see the first question. Explain any 5 arithmetic operators used in SQL. Already we have learned all these things with our concept classes. So now what you have to understand, you just need to analyze what is this question is all about, how I'm supposed to write, how much should I write, so what they are asking, for how many marks I'm supposed to write. Everything you have to analyze, then attend the question. So here what they are asking, explain any 5 arithmetic operators used in SQL. Then we have plus, minus, multiplication, division, and we have percentage, isn't it? That is not at all percentage, it is, we are going to call this as a modulus. So as we all know that plus is nothing but addition, that performs the addition of value of either side of the operator. Then this minus, that is subtraction, it will going to subtract the right hand operator from the left hand. Next we have a multiplication. It multiplies the values on the either side of an operator. Next, divide or division, it will going to returns the quotient value. There is a difference between the slash and modulus. That divide will going to give you the quotient, modulus will going to give you the remainder. So that modulus that divides the left hand operator by the right hand operand and it will going to returns the remainder value. That is the main difference between this division as well as this modulus. This is the first question. This is how we are supposed to answer. Along with that, you can take an example here. So make one more column with respect to example and give some value for A and give some another value for B and do all these operations. So that can be takes place. We'll see the next question. Mention DML commands in SQL. Explain any 2 commands. Understand, dear student, if you are mentioning, it will be for 1 marks. If you are explaining any 2 commands, then that will be for 2 cross 2. That means each command will going to carry 2 marks. So how to remember this? So I have one SUDI. So remember it as SUDI. That means what? So S stands for select and U stands for update. D stands for delete and I stands for insert. So in this way you can remember the DML commands SUDI, that is select, update, delete and insert. Or else if you wanted to have any of the keywords in order to remember this, you can do that. Okay. So here select command, it will retrieve a certain records from one or more table, and insert command that is used to creates a record. We are going to update some values to the record, or we are going to give some input with the help of this insert. Update in the sense, I wanted to modify the records or tuples. I can do this with the help of this update. And then we have a delete, that will delete the records or a row or a tuple. So first you have to mention. How to mention? So basic commands for DML are, then mention all these things. No need to write all these together. So you just mention what are the commands that comes under a DML, and then you take any 2 which is of your choice. So at that time you need to understand how to write an answer for that. As I told, you just need to understand what is the use of this command and what is the general syntax. along with one example. That much is enough in order to learn any kind of the commands which we are going to use in a SQL. So here I have taken a select that is mainly used to fetch the data from a database table which returns the data in the form of result table. So the result tables are called result set. So in order to display the output, we are going to use this select. Or if I wanted to use all the rows or all the columns of a table, select star from table name. So that is the general syntax. So here you can see the general syntax, select column 1, column 2 up to column n from table. Okay. So if I wanted to have some group by, if I wanted to have having clause and order by clause, I can mention it. If I wanted to have a extra or optional content. So apart from that, I need to use a syntax called select column 1, column 2, column 3 up to column n from table name at last semicolon. If I wanted to use or if I wanted to fetch all the records or all the rows of a table, select star from table name. So you can see the example here, that is select star from table name. So what I can do that, for example, you consider I have a table called student that comprises of student ID and name and age. So I wanted to retrieve all the data. So how I am supposed to do? Select star from student. Select star from student semicolon. So this will going to fetch me all the values which is there in the student table. Next, I have taken this update command mainly in order to change the data through update command. So the update command used to modify or update an already existing row or rows of a table. So you can see the general syntax, update, table name, set. We are going to use a keyword called set. I am modifying the existing content. So I am now setting another value or a different value for existing column. So that set column name is equal to some value, and I can have this for n number of columns in existing table, and I can have this where clause in this update. I can give some of the condition. So how can I do that? So let me take the same example with respect to the student table. Update name is equal to Sneha, where register number is equal to or student ID is equal to 1. So whatever could be the value which is already existed in the register number of 1, so that student name will going to be replaced or will going to be modified as Sneha. That is what you have to understand here. So here I have taken one example. Update student set combination is equal to CBA, where register number is equal to 1411. So the student who has a register number 1411, their combination will going to be changed to this CEBA. Whatever could be the existing value, but now I am setting new value by making use of this update command. So in this way, you have to understand. We'll see the next question. Define DDL. What are the functions of DDL? So this will be for 1 mark. So if you have mentioned the functions of DDL, that will be for another 4 marks. So what is DDL here? DDL defines the conceptual schema providing a link between the logical and physical structure of the database. So it provides a link between the logical structure and physical structure of a database. So what are the functions of DDL we have here? So DDL defines the physical characteristics of each record, and also it specifies the field of a record, fields data type and fields length, field logical name, and also it will specify the relationship among those record. And also this DDL describes the schema and subschema. DDL indicate the keys of records, like whether it is primary key, candidate key, foreign key. All those keys will going to be defined by this DDL, and also this DDL provides the data security measures. We can have some constraint. I can have some rules in order to access the records of a table. DDL provides for the logical and physical data independence. These are the function which will going to be performed by this DDL or a data definition language, which builds a relationship between physical data as well as the logical structure of the database. This is how you are supposed to answer for this question. We'll see the next question, that is regarding explain any file logical operators in SQL. So it includes all, and, any, between, exist and in. So these many logical operator that we have with respect to this SQL, at that time you have to mention what is this all logical operator will going to do. So in the same way, and, any, between, exist, in. So in that way, you write its operation and specify for what purpose we are going to use this. So remember, we have all, and, any, between, exist and in. So it is in the order, alphabetical order. So how to remember? I have three values with respect to capital A, that means which comes as a first letter of an alphabet, that is all. So we have all and any. Okay, everything, and we have some condition and any out of that. Then from B we have a between. Then from E we have exist, and from I have in. Remember, we have all, and, any, between, exist and in. This is what the logical operator that can be seen in SQL. We'll see the next question, that is explain any 5 group functions in SQL. Or there could be a question like explain the functions of following SQL function that include count, max, min, average, sum. So these 5 are the functions which comes under as a group function. So first we'll see what is this group function is all about. So the function that act on a separate set of values are called group function. When that function which is rely on set of values or which rely on set of constraints or like that, then we are going to call that kind of functions as a group function. So it will going to takes entire column of a data as its arguments and produces a single data item that summarizes the complete column. I can find a maximum of all the column. So in the column I can find the maximum value, in the particular column I can find the minimum, I can sum all the values of a particular column, I can find the average, I can count the number of persons or number of values that we have in a particular column. All these can be takes place with the help of this group function. So that includes average, it returns the average value, and count, that returns the number of rows in a table, and also count star, it will going to returns the complete number of a rows, and also we have a minimum, it returns the minimum value, and max, it returns the maximum value, and sum, that returns the sum of all the values. So this is how you are supposed to write. If you want, you can take the example of employee table and then you can explain their salary. So you can find the minimum, you can have a count of number of employees. So you can sum all the salaries of all the employees. So everything can be done with the help of this group function. So the question can be like this, either explain a group functions together, or they might ask you the question like this also. So these are the possible way of asking a question with respect to this group function topic. We'll see the next question. Expand SQL. Give the syntax and example for insert and delete command in SQL. How will be the marks distribution? If I have expanded or if I have written the acronym for this SQL, 1 marks. Give the syntax and example for insert and for delete command. So for example and syntax, 1 mark, and for delete with respect to same thing, like if you have mentioned its syntax and example, that will be for another 1 mark. So what is SQL? Structured Query Language. Abbreviation is Structured Query Language. And we are going to use this insert command. The tuples are added to the relation using this insert command. Syntax, insert into table name, and we have to specify the column list along with this values keyword. Then we have to specify the values. So this value should match with a list of a column. For example, if I have 5 columns, then my values must be 5 only. It should not greater than or it should not lesser than that value. At last, don't forget to put the semicolon. So this is regarding insert, and here you can see the example. So insert into student, we have a student ID, student name, father name, age, class, address. What are the values I am taking? For student ID 101, student name Mohan, his father name is Pavan, age is 15 and they are belongs to 8th class and their address is Jaipur. Then close the parenthesis and put semicolon. With respect to delete, already we have discussed regarding this. Delete, mention why we are going to use this delete command and what is its syntax. Along with this, you can take one example. We'll see the next question. What are single row function in SQL? Explain different numeric functions in SQL. So what are single row functions? So we have numeric function, we have character functions, so we have some mathematical function. All these comes under this single row function. So this also called as what? Scalar function. The function that act on only one value at a time, that are called as scalar function or a single row function. So that numeric functions accepts the numeric input and returns the numeric values. So when we are dealing with this numeric function, it takes the input as a numeric and returns the output as a numeric itself. So here I have listed out the number of function which is related to numeric function. That includes ABS, that is, it returns the absolute value of a number. Then ceil, that means integer value that is greater than or equal to the number. If it is 2.83, then the resultant will be 3. So if it is 2.49, then the result is also be 3 only. So ceil minus 1.6, which is greater, minus 1.6 or plus 1.6. So if I wanted to do that, I must take this minus 1. So that next we have a floor, it will going to reduce the value to the below value, that is integer value that is lesser than or equal to the number. If it is 2.83, the value will be 2, it is not going to be 3. So if it is in the ceil, it will be updated to next number, but if I am dealing with this floor, it will be reduced to previous number. So then trunc, so truncates the value of a number x up to y. We have to specify number of digits. Based on that, it will just going to chop that. Next we have a round. So it will going to round it off the value of the given number. This is how you have to answer with related to this numeric function. So absolute, ceil, floor, trunc, and we have a round off. So mention what is its application, like for what purpose we are going to use, and take one example and give the resultant. It will take the numeric as the values and it also produces the numeric as a resultant itself. It is regarding this scalar function or a single row function which with respect to numeric function. We'll see the next question. What is SQL constraint? Explain any 4 SQL constraint with example. So what is constraint? So set of rules and regulations that we have to follow which needs to be takes place with respect to data columns on a table. So that constraints are the rules enforced on data columns on the table. So these will going to limit the type of data that we can use with respect to columns of a table. So this will going to ensure the accuracy and reliability of a data into the database. So if we are having a constraint, then also there will be a possibility of providing a security for the data. And also we have primary key constraint, already we have discussed, it should not be null and it must be unique. And foreign key constraint, primary key of my table will going to be act as a foreign key in another table. And also we have discussed regarding the check constraint. It will going to check some condition. If it is true, then the further things will going to takes place. And also we have discussed regarding this not null constraint. So when I wanted the column to be null, at that time I wanted to specify this not null. So if it is filled or if it is having some value, nothing will going to be bothered. So if it is null, then we are not able to accept that value for that particular column. So it should not be null. That is what it is not null. And also we have a unique key constraint. So you can take any 4 out of this and you can explain along with its example. We'll see the next question, that is explain any 5 relational or comparison operators in SQL with suitable example. So here what we have several, I have listed out some of the relational comparison. So I have 2 values A and B. So I have a value of A as 10 and I have a value of B as 20. So I just wanted to compare whether it is equal, greater than, lesser than or not equal to. If I wanted to do all this comparison, then we are going to have this relational operator. So here what do we have? That is equal, not equal, this is also not equal, this is greater than, and we have lesser than, greater than or equal to, lesser than or equal to. So we have not lesser than and we have not greater than. So these are the operators that we have with respect to this relational or comparison operators. So take the values of A and B and make a comparison whether it is equal, lesser than, greater than. So that kind of operation that we can perform with the help of this relational or comparison operator which is available in the SQL. It's all about today's session. I hope you all understood my today's session and I tried my best to cover all the important questions with respect to 3 and 5 marks. Let me meet you in the next session with a revision of further chapters. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.